really like, you can print this stuff if you want, but what you really want to print is this part here, is here. So there's a couple different ways to do it. I'm actually just trying to think which would be the easiest. What I would probably do is highlight it down to where, let me just make sure this is right.
Yeah, and just go to print, and then your options would be print, selected.
Selected area.
Yeah, selection.
Oh.
So that's one
You
way
can
of doing
preview
it. Hit preview, and then you can see if it all gets on there. And there we go.
Yeah, if you just hit print, then you'll hate us because we'll print hundreds and hundreds.
We got ran on for that one. So then you, I was like, you wasted a whole thing of my ink cartridge. I was printing nothing. Anyways. So yeah, so there it is. If you just select what you want to print. So I'll do that again real quick because I wasn't sure that that was the best way.
What?
You just select it, print, click selection, and then hit preview. And then you just print that up and there you go. You can print it before you go into your pantry and do your inventory, write it in, and then bring the paper back, and then you can type it all in, write it in at Walmart, and then come back, type it in, or whatever you want. So I wanted to make sure to do the print thing. I wanted to make sure to do, I think that was the long-term stuff. I wanted to mention that you don't have to put it on here like the flower and stuff, but you can. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. But it really actually is quite simple when you're actually in it.
So you can use this to take you to the grocery store, or you can even, if you have $50 a month to spend, you can decide, okay, I'm gonna just go down the list and buy it, or strategically decide which one.
Yeah.
If you have the prices, you have everything.
Yeah. And look at what's on sale that week, and say, okay, this is on sale. You know, I'm gonna stock up on this. That's what I wanted to show you. Now I remember. Was if you don't want to use Excel, then you can. And this is on our site under step 3. You can write out all of the things with the size and the quantity, and then just do all the math at the end with all your papers. But I think that's hard.
What would you recommend if you have a lot of meals that have fresh ingredients that you can't necessarily freeze or?
That's the hardest question we get, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's different things. You know, if you want to have it all shelf stable, there's like freeze-dried food, there's canned food, there's frozen food. You know, for me, I feel like that's something I probably would never eat because I'd really rather use the fresh stuff. So I just plan a couple extra shelf-stable foods in case I needed to eat those, and then just keep cooking the regular foods and putting the ingredients in those meals that can fit in here.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
so if you're
Depends
making,
what you're using it for. Like if you're using this to save money on your groceries all the time, you want the part of the ingredients that you are going to use a lot to be in there, so you're stocking up on them.
yeah,
For sure. And then you just leave the fresh off. And it was kind of like me with losing our job. We still could go and buy $20, $30 worth of the fresh, but we had everything else for them.
Yeah.
and actually that reminds me because it's been almost a couple years now that I did mine. I did put separately. I did just put all fresh ingredients at the bottom, and it's for price matching purposes because I had the hardest time figuring out how much broccoli is normally, you know, good price and not good price, and my sister could just rattle it off. I'm like, how do you know that? Anyways, now it's because it was a different stage of life, but now I know what that is. But if you don't, you can just list all of your produce down there. You can include it, not include it, lean towards meals that don't have it, or just be okay with.
You can throw in like one number 10 can of green peppers or something. It's not that expensive to just have like one of those on hand.
Macy's is having their sale right now, their case lot sale, and they have a lot of the blue chip group is discontinuing their label. They changed their label. So anything with their old labels
On sale.
is on sale for really cheap. So I picked up some, like a number 10 can of celery, onions, and green peppers, which I probably will just let be in my basement.
Okay.
But I actually like the onions for drawings and stuff and not having to chop onions depending on what it is. But if you're making a stir fry and you want like the chunky, crunchy onion, then you would just buy regular onions.
Let me just click it back to this spreadsheet again.
Oh.
I'm gonna close your print preview.
That's fine. Do you want me to move over to dinner?
For lunches, what I do too, these are just because I've used it. Like if I eat different things than my kids for lunches, I'll just put like meal one and it will have ramen noodles, but my husband refuses to eat ramen noodles, so I have to buy the little extra, the ones in the little styrofoam things. So that's what he wants to eat. So I just put that all down that column, whatever would be for one lunch meal.
So then let's do that. That's a good idea, Jody. So.
And for like peanut butter and jelly, I would say like a quarter of a jar or whatever of that. But then the bread I don't put on because I assume that I could make bread out of all of my long term.
So if we did like macaroni and cheese, but then you have a tuna sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
So you would put it the same, like
That's
that's
the same
one
column.
meal.
That's one meal for my whole family.
That's one meal.
And same thing, like I have some recipes that I found I can, instead of using ground beef in a casserole, you could use like a can of chicken instead. Or a couple cans of chicken, like the canned chicken that you just buy. And so in that column, I'll put ground beef and canned chicken. So I can make sure I have it if there is that emergency where we can't buy any frozen or fresh or whatever. So if you're gonna do substitutions, just make sure they fall in the same column and you'll have.
Yeah, so this is the one meal of macaroni and cheese and tuna.
Mm-hmm.
You need, for kids, the box of macaroni and cheese, but then for her, the can of tuna. And then for bread, if you're using that out of your long term,
Then you don't need to put it in, but sometimes I'll put it in just so I know it's there.
So if you're freezing, like if you buy bread and then freeze it, loaf of bread, you can do it there. And so then, you know.
And like you need mayonnaise with it, so I don't necessarily stock like a huge thing of mayonnaise. So I want to make sure I have enough. If I'm going to eat 40 things of tuna sandwiches. And with side dishes, Julie included the side dishes right in her dinner. I think when I first made it, I included those as snacks or something. So I did like a fruit and a vegetable and a treat for every day or every meal or something like that. So there's kind of just different ways that whatever makes sense for you and for how to track. Because I didn't necessarily need to plan corn with this dinner. It was just like, I want to have a variety of fruits and vegetables that we can eat on hand if we can't go to the store.
Good point. Thanks, Jody. All right.
Can you tell us the name of the website?
Oh,
Are we online here?
I don't think I'm connected. Let me see.
Yeah, I forgot.
Security. I'm not connected.
One bar.
That's not the one that you I don't think.
Yeah, that's an old. It's foodstoragemadeeasy.net. And so, is there anyone?
Go down to Piles Gifts, there you go.
Yeah.
And then let's show them where they can download
Yeah,
these.
let's show you where you can get something. Good point.
This says it is, yeah.
There's one.
You missed the Y.
It's just food.
We have one for all that though. You do have all that on there. Okay. So if you come, this is like
It looks huge.
huge here. It's funny
Do
because
control hyphen and make your screen smaller.
Let's go, so thank
There
you.
you go.
okay, so you go to baby steps here.
Be writing these down. Can you remember it? Baby
Um,
steps.
and it's going to be here on step 3. So the spreadsheet is right here. And then there's the tutorial videos too, if you forget anything that we said. To answer your
And
question.
the PDF version's down.
Oh yeah, and the PDF versions
And then
here,
it's
printable forms.